Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well today. So earlier today, I saw a kid, right, just like screaming and bawling for candy from their parent, right, and it got me to think how everyone's a salesman, right? So everyone has things that they want that other people can get them. We just have different the levels of ability and different techniques of getting that thing out of them, right? Of influencing the person through communication, right? Um, so yeah, if you take a kid, a baby, all they've got is crying, right? They can just cry and cry, and it's actually up to the parent to figure out what they want. But as we get older, so say like a 9 year old, you learn that you can just be persistent, right? You can just say the same thing over and over again. There's no guesswork for the parent. They know exactly what you want, right? So, say that you want, I don't know, like a gaming chair, right? For um for for Christmas, right? So the kid will just say that over and over and over and over and over again, and eventually the persistence will wear down the resistance, right? So the parent will cave and they'll be like, yeah, or whatever, I'll get you a gaming chair, you know. So we get a little bit older, and we get a little bit better at it, right? And some people stop getting better at it because there's this perception that being a salesman is like sleazy, right? Um, but they're really just like jealous that they don't have the ability to do what you do, to do what they already do, but on a higher level, right? And so everyone's a salesman, right? It's just to what extent and how good you are, right? Uh, so yeah, wherever you go in life, you're always going to take yourself with you, right? So people that have problems, they can run away from them, but usually problems come from an internal like root cause, right? So when they run away, they're just going to take the problems with them because they're the ones causing the problems for themselves, right? So the business offers like immense personal growth, right? Um, and people that are in debt will always be like, I just don't have enough money. If I had more money, I'd be fine, right? But that's not the problem. The problem is what got you into the debt, right? So the cure to that, as they see it, would be just being chucked like a lot of money, like winning the lottery or something, right? That so say they won like $10 million, they're in like I don't know, like $850,000 of debt when they didn't have any money and they were getting like a $50,000 a year income, right? So that's like what they would consider a cure. But within like 5 or 10 years, they'd probably have it all spent, right? Because they're not going to invest it. They're not going to learn how to invest it properly. They're just going to spend at the same rate they were spending before. Um, Probably increase the rate they were spending before because they're just like, I'm a millionaire now, I can afford to. But they don't have anything more coming in. So they haven't addressed the cause, they've addressed the symptom, right? So in the business, it doesn't just address the symptom of your problem, it addresses the root. And as a consequence of addressing the root problem, you have addressed the symptom, right? So you get the personal growth and the personal development, which treats the root problem, which is like your spending habits or whatever. And then as a result of treating that problem, you also become a person who's better with money and a person who's easier to follow. So you're going to be more profitable in the business, which leads you to have more money in the business, right? So that's the symptom cured, and they've also cured the root cause, right? Just through the business, right? Um, so yeah, when someone's down, you kick them, right? Because nothing good is going to come from getting down and groveling with them, right? If you sympathize with someone who's down, like obviously with like traumatic events, like someone dying or something, you sympathize to a certain extent, but nothing good comes from getting down and groveling with people, right? If someone's afraid of contacting, validating that fear by being like, yeah, it's scary. That doesn't make the fear go away. It makes it worse because they're just like, this is a valid fear. I'm allowed to have this now. Do you know what I mean? And so to overcome that fear, you've just made it more difficult for you and for them, right? So yeah, nothing good actually comes from getting down and groveling with someone. So when someone's down, kick them, make it worse, right? So if they're having trouble with contacting, make them do it again, right? Make them get rejected so badly that they don't care about it because the worst thing that could happen in their mind has already happened, right? So when I was first contacting, the worst thing, my anxiety, my fear was about saying the wrong thing, right? And so I got over that by saying the wrong thing. I would say the absolute wrong thing, like the worst thing I could think of, obviously that's not like rude or vulgar, to someone. and then I'd have to conflict resolute, right? So I'd have to backtrack. I'd have to fix what I said. And by being able to do that, I got my biggest fear out of the way, and I was able to contact without fear, and I became far more successful in contacting, right? So yeah, never get down on your knees and grovel with someone, basically. Make it worse. So yeah, another thing with contacting or anything that you're having difficulty with, you always want to finish on a yes or a success, because lasting impressions will become your starting perceptions, right? So basically, what that means is you don't want to finish something you're afraid of as a failure, right? So you don't want to say you're learning to ride a bike. You don't want to finish off the session of learning to ride a bike by falling over and scraping your knee. As soon as you fall over and scrape your knee, you're actually meant to get back on the bike, right? Because fear and negativity will grow, right? But positivity will kind of stay the same, right? So if you're afraid of contacting, if you're afraid of like walking up to a girl or something, you always want to finish on a yes or a success, because your lasting impression, which is your failure, will be how you start next time. It will become your starting perception, right? So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory now. And yeah, so some of the pain of growing and changing in the business and getting better as a person in the business is burning bridges you don't want to burn so that you can build new ones. Okay. So basically, what that means is if you have like high school friends or whatever, and they're friends from high school, um, and they're just being lazy and doing the wrong things all the time, you have to burn those bridges. It's sad, we all have to go through it, but you have to burn those bridges so that you can spend your time building new ones with people that are going somewhere, really, to be blunt. Like they're being productive in society, and they're being productive for themselves, right? So you need to burn those bridges of the lazy old people so that you can build more productive new ones, so that you can elevate yourself further, right? There comes a time where we all need to be some extent of selfish, right? And giving yourself to a friendship group that's not going anywhere isn't going to get you anywhere, okay? So yeah, some last thoughts would be, by 67, 96% of us are going to be dead or dead broke, okay? And that's a real statistic, right? So by 67 years old, 96% of us are either going to be dead or we're going to have no money, right? And the mortality rate drops for people that don't have a lot of money, because they're not able to care for themselves the same way people with money are able to care for themselves, right? So my question would be to you: do you want to be in the 96%, or do you want to be in the 4%, right? Build the business, build it strong, build it proper. Let's go.